Welcome to The Quiet Truth, where a lay Catholic confronts the culture. I'm Tom Borek. In our first introductory video, I described the horrible and horribly powerful secular culture. I also explained one way lay Christian publishers and producers, perhaps innocently, pushed people toward atheism by producing fiction set in worlds with apparently atheist majorities. Today, I'll address another source of foolish and dangerous cultural messages, Protestantism and its offspring. I'll explain how the present state of these Christian and post-Christian denominations exerts its own powerful but illogical pull that can endanger lay Catholics and those we care about. The essence of the Protestant tragedy was rejecting the teaching authority of the one true church established by Jesus Christ and entrusted to the care of St. Peter and his successors. Picture a high plateau made of glass and perfectly flat. Living there in relative safety are those who accept the entire set of doctrines and beliefs along with the traditional laws and practices of the church. At the edges, the land slopes gradually downward. Now, living just over the edge, you'll find Henry VIII of England, who accepted substantially all church teachings except those that blocked his divorce. Not much further downslope is the founder of the Protestant movement, Martin Luther. His Mass and other liturgies were extremely close to Catholic, and his devotion to Mary, the Mother of God, and his constant prayers for her intercession would seem appallingly Catholic to the Lutherans of today. Over time, these non-Catholic theologies have tended to become simpler. Just as the original Protestants moved away from the Catholic Church by discarding certain doctrines and calling it reform, so their intellectual descendants move even further from the Church, also calling it reform. Discarding doctrines is so much easier than developing new ones. The denominations that are furthest downslope tend to be the newest ones. The slope is slippery. In the late 1990s, a good friend of mine told me that she had been asked to deliver the main address for the Sunday service at her Unitarian church. The topic? Dental health. She was pretty far down the slope. No one, during the first century after Luther, established a church preaching oral hygiene. Other modern sects may decide that God is love, and that all you need is love. Many of their adherents or their children will soon be saying that love is God, and perhaps that everyone who loves is God. Are they atheists or just pre-atheists? It hardly matters. They have reached the bottom of the slide. Over time, another trend has been for Protestant denominations to splinter into thousands of competing sects. The members of these sects tend to do to their little churches what the original Protestants had done to the Catholic Church. They reject the teaching authority of their leaders and develop their own theologies. For some, the splintering reaches its absolute limit as individuals object to the very idea of organized religion with a set of agreed truths. And they claim that they have their own personal spirituality in their own individual minds. Of course, at that point, they've really given up any belief in the objective existence of God. Their spirituality has become whatever daydreams are most pleasing to them at the time. They also have hit rock bottom. Even the most faith-filled and committed Catholics are subjected to a powerful and dangerous force by all these denominations, sects, and even individuals as they move on downslope. It works on us in three ways. First, our sinful natures tempt us away from what is right. We can be pulled away from the church by greed, or lust, or pride, or gluttony, or whatever. Second, we are hardwired to follow the crowd. We find it unsettling that there are more non-Catholics than Catholics, and that all the non-Catholic denominations seem to be similarly critical of Catholic doctrine. I once spent some time working with a local unit of the United Council of Churches, and I found that the clergy and lay Catholics associated with that group tended to buy into the all paths lead to God philosophy because they were surrounded by people who wanted to believe that all belief systems were of equal value. Third, the newer, simpler, splintered sects are considered more modern, and we have come to believe that modern ideas are superior to older ones. This third is the most powerful and dangerous of all because it appeals to our pride and appears superficially reasonable. It appeals to our pride because we like to believe we are better than the ancients. Because of our technology, we can drive cars, ride in airplanes, and use cell phones, and they couldn't. As a group, we are more literate, and we have more knowledge at our disposal. So we tell ourselves that we are also wiser and more intelligent. Beliefs developed by our contemporaries must be better than those of our ancestors. This modern is better idea is superficially reasonable because modern is better when it comes to the study of our physical world using the scientific method. Through experiment and observation, we have accumulated many facts that our ancestors did not have. And through study and thought, we've developed better ideas that better explain these facts. Two of the best examples of better thinking are provided by Newton and Einstein. Both sat down with a set of facts well known to their contemporaries, but they thought more deeply, more clearly, and more imaginatively, and developed better theories than anyone else. We sometimes think of theology as just another subject like physics or biology or chemistry, but it isn't. Christian theology is metaphysical. It is about the world beyond the physical. We cannot accumulate new facts about it through the scientific method, and we cannot produce new and better ideas about it by thinking. The deposit of faith was revealed to the world by God, gradually to the Jewish people, and once and for all time by the incarnate Son of God. Today's theologians do not have access to a single fact that was not known to Jesus. They could think and think until the end of time, and they would not develop any ideas that Jesus had not considered. In a way, theology is more like history than physics. We don't learn more about George Washington by conducting experiments or by thinking about him. We get closer to him by reading what he wrote or what his contemporaries wrote about him. In the same way, we don't learn more about Jesus by following the latest fad or reading the new theory by the next theologian seeking tenure. Jesus is mankind's primary source of information about God. During his life on earth, he gave it to us in the best way he could, through the apostles and through his church. Modern theology is not better theology. Modern theology is man's attempt to improve on the teachings of Christ. It's attractive because it's trendy and modern. It's foolish because it's man's attempt to improve on the teachings of Christ. The danger for lay Catholics is not only that we may be tempted to join one of these new trendy sects, it's also that we may infect the church itself with modernism for the sake of modernism. Beware of that. Thank you for your kind attention.